John, it's so good that you could join us today for the show.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be able to make this installment. It's,
Yes,
I
thank
think,
you.
important for me, and because I feel it's important for others.
Well, wait a minute. Let me just quick, if in case somebody finds this video just freestanding, Douglas and I were ready to record John and Douglas in another blockbuster, because they are to me interview, excuse me, called the from the works of Rudolf Steiner, and this one was on the dweller of the threshold, which is a very important topic, and we must have John talking to Douglas, because when they talk together, these two, they just send you to these higher levels, and all of us out here, we just get goosebumps and we love it. But you weren't there, so I asked some questions, but I had wanted you to talk to us about the question I was asking, so now you're going to answer that.
And that question is,
Tell, I want to, I think I would like to help people with their own spiritual journey and giving them some indications of things that have occurred to me as a reflection of, yeah, this thing is real. You go through a spiritual journey, you're going to have trials and tribulations, but there are interesting results from it. However, my mentor always told me that sharing your personal experiences in this way is not good. So I don't know what to do.
well, first of all, let's look at what we've done thus far and say what is the accumulative benefit from what we've done as far as putting forward all this work that we've done and including our personal stories, which, like you say, other people, they don't approve of that kind of thing. Well, people like to be an authority, and so they may make statements that you have to discern through your own path what turn you're going to make. You can't let this whole idea of authority, that's like this whole when the church decided to remove reincarnation and karma back in the early centuries, that it was a sequestering of spiritual world and the world of soul. And so it's vitally important that people begin to come to terms with this. So I think that we've moved into another phase of the expression of the work of Rudolf Steiner. And that obviously, because it's all out there, if you're diligent, you can do the research yourself and dispense with Douglas and I, for that matter, because it's all there. We're just like I feel like a doorman. It's like, so I don't mind sharing my personal stories because that gives me something that I feel I'm a part of. And Rudolf Steiner said, go out there and speak the truth, and people will either uh, take it up or not. And it's the whole idea that it's that freedom aspect. Like when Rudolf Steiner indicated that the logos, when the word came forth from the logos, it was done freely. You have to understand it wasn't a blind force of nature, that it was a deed, a conscious free deed by a divine spiritual being, the logos, Christ. I mean, just thinking that thought for 5 minutes can change your life.
But I see that there are spiritual things, techniques, let's call them that can be done in the privacy of your home. You can do it right now, that you can begin to prepare yourself to exit this matrix. We'll call it that, Armand's world. And I'm beginning to see the effects myself. And I'm excited. I want to share it because I know people are sick and tired of living in this evil and corruption. And it's not like we have another America to move to and start over again. So, how do we escape?
Yeah. Well, the way in is the way through. Like that old saying goes, and I think that's applicable here. Ultimately, what you're responsible for is your own existence. And to the extent that you can work on that, you can increase your contribution to your world, at least the part that you're experiencing. But there's ripple effect, right? It's like when you throw a pebble into a still pool of water and you see and the waves make it all the way to the other shore, unbeknownst to the stone.
Right.
See, that's all we're doing is we're, like Douglas was saying on the show you did, that was, I thought, quite
I was
wonderful
glad you
with
listened to it.
Douglas. Yeah, I caught it. I couldn't really
Wasn't
hear.
Douglas looking good in that show?
Well, you girls can talk like that.
Well, okay. Well, thank you so much for
I want to
coming
answer the
back.
So
question.
it's the
You
living stones is the concept.
okay.
Yes.
We're creating living stones. We're creating our future. So however you want to do that, it's important that you do it out of perfect freedom with the basis of being spirits of freedom and love.
Can I give an answer to your question, Miss Tyler?
Yes, sir.
More than one.
Yes. Well, that's a big question.
Yeah.
Rudolf Steiner, when he said those things, and others who are spiritual teachers tell you don't share your spiritual experience because at first you don't know the difference between a hallucination, a fantasy, imagination, or a moral imagination. And so here's what happens all the time. Someone gets a bit spiritual, they read Steiner, and all of a sudden they come to me and say, I'm Jesus Christ reincarnated. And you go, yeah, you are, but not really. So just chill out and please don't tell people that. They'll lock you up. That's what they're talking about. You have to let these things echo in you for years before you are bold enough, as audacious as John and I are, and you yourself also, that, to speak of these things. Basically, what was the watchword of the mysteries? Silence, do not speak. Why? We're going to talk today about the most secret stuff in all of anthroposophy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to swear an oath I would not share some of this stuff with anyone ever. And you weren't allowed to talk about it because you're trying to percolate, you're trying to incubate your spiritual experience. And if you talk about it, you diffuse it, you water it down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes. And as you look at what's going through now, as we move into the age of Michael, that's the age of autonomy, really, is the way you want to describe it. You're now an autonomous conscious being, hopefully. It's up to you to what extent that's true. But nonetheless, there's traditions that came from the previous period of the Archangel Gabriel that was very much tied into family ties and secret groups and all this connections that were on a social level. But within the lodges, there was the sign of Hippocrates, right? That's that sign of silence, that these are, you do not share the secrets of the addendum to the profane, right? And there's that whole thing. But it makes me think back to one of my old mentors. He used to sell peanuts at Tiger Stadium, Paul, and he'd say, well, there's the Temple of Wisdom, and then around the temple there's a courtyard, and then outside the walls of that's the barnyard. That's where we are.
Okay, very good. And then I hope that the listeners are having a similar experience that I'm having in listening to the two of you, is that I'm beginning I see things in a different way. Now, this will happen when you listen to an elevated speech or discussion, a Goetheanum discussion between knowledgeable spiritual masters is what you are. I know you wouldn't say that, but so I've been conscious of the chakras for a long time and about working up the chakras and the whole bit, but I had forgotten the chakra that would control speech that Douglas talked about in the video. And it blew me away because Douglas says this is the area for truth to come out. Oh my gosh, what have we been doing since 2015 except aiming for truth? So not even realizing it, that chakra is being developed. So I agree with you that it is only with great time that you can look back and see your journey, that you begin to see the wisdom of it to share with others. You don't want to share these things in the moments, but only in the time. Okay, is that enough of that? All right. We're going to cut out now, folks. Hope you enjoy it. And now we're going to get into exploring what is at the threshold.
Well, they're on the threshold, and I'll wait.